All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Haas Talks. Joining me on the show now, Steven Snyder Jr. It's a name you've heard. It's a face you've seen. But now we're really going to get down to the nitty-gritty. Steven, thanks for taking time here, unloading to chit-chat with me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
So let's just dive right in, man, because let's be honest, the past maybe, let's call it 2 to 3 years have kind of been your breakout time, and you're now becoming one of those names where it's like, oh, Steven Snyder Jr.'s there. He's going to be one of the guys that's in contention to win. But it hasn't been like that forever. It's just kind of like we said, happened here recently, and it's not come just out of good luck. It's come from hard work and dedication. Yeah. Real quick, let's give people just a synopsis of how everything started. How did you get into it, just you and your dad rolling up and down the highway?
So we started in quarter midgets, just me and my dad, and then we made the switch when I was 14 to micro sprints, just 600s, and then, it was just me and him, and we had a team helping us out, learning us the basics of hyper racings and how they react and all that stuff and setups, and so they gave us a good base on where to start. And after two years running with kind of sticking by their side, we kind of broke out on our own thing, and the third year is really when we started clicking off wins, and then after that, the middle of last year is when Texas had this big race. Yep. Hyper reached out to me, and they kind of wanted me to be their house driver, and Mike Dicely's been sticking by my side the whole time.
So let's talk about like what made you want to race. Like as a kid, was it like did your dad race? Did anyone in your family race, or was it like you saw it on TV and you're like, I want to try it?
Actually, it was my uncle. My dad was never involved in racing. The closest thing he did was demolition derby. So my uncle told us about like this driving experience in quarter midgets, and we started out with that, and then they said I sat in the car for 4 hours after I got done doing like 4 or 5 laps. So after that, I guess my dad made the decision to buy one, and then ever since that, I just had the love and passion for it. It gives you this adrenaline nothing else can.
So we fast forward through the years of just the trials and tribulations and not clicking off wins and things like that. Was there ever a time that you just wanted to give up and quit and just do something different, or like what kept you going?
The first year we switched to micros, we ran quarter midgets, and we figured them out really good. So when you ran 3 classes a day in quarter midgets, usually you'd come out with a win, at least one of them. So the hardest switch to me was not being that guy to win. I was just your local guy running the B main, and that took a really hard turn on me, because I'd be upset, and I tell my dad, this ain't no fun, because you're not making no progress, and he just told me to keep pushing, one day we'll get there. So, and he just does nothing but push me to strive for me to be my best, and that's when, after the first year, the second year is really when I started figuring things out, and then the third year is kind of when, we went to the give back and won the give back.
So let's, to me, I feel like that may have been like really the breaking point for you was the KKM Give Back Classic, and having the opportunity to choose the KKM ride. But let's rewind to that championship night, because you had a shock break off the car, and like just as a driver, you're leading probably one of the biggest races in your career at the time, and to know that you have that going on, there's cautions, and it's just crazy, right? What's going through your mind throughout that time? You're like, do you have things flashing before your eyes? Are you trying to calm yourself down? Like, what's going on in that moment?
It's the hardest, it's the biggest race of my career, so I was trying not to think about, what I could win. I was trying to think about, I really got to hit my marks here on the bottom, because Persley was killing the top, and one mistake on the bottom made him get the lead. And that shock broke off, and it helped, but it's also like, if it gets in the way in the axle, then I can't steer. So I had that, and then the nut that holds the gear on, that fell off too. It was like a magical night.
Yeah.
Things were meant to happen.
Everything went right.
Yep. I just tried to stay focused on what I needed to do to win, because one mistake, Persley was going to win, or is the other way around. If he made a mistake by hopping the curb, for say, that would have gave me a better advantage on the bottom. So I just tried to, to stay calm, hit my marks, and it paid off.
Let's talk about this now, and this may be something that you don't want to talk about, and if you don't want to talk about it, we won't. But I feel like we need to, like, I want to address this because I kind of have a better understanding of you now, and I kind of feel like I know you a little bit better now that I've seen you at the racetrack and we shoot the breeze at the diner while we're getting pancakes and sunny side up eggs and a Dr. Pepper. Let's talk about Chili Bowl.
Okay.
Let's talk about your original experience. Whenever you rolled into the expo for Chili Bowl, did you feel an added sense of pressure knowing that you were running for the mega team at the mega event? Did you feel like you had to perform and going into that event?
Yeah, and I also had my dad in my ear saying, like, you don't have to do your best. You know, just go out there and have fun.
Trying to calm it down.
That's where I took the fun out of it because I had so much, I wouldn't say so much pressure on me, but they treated me like family there. You know, Kaz Thompson, he was one of the crew chiefs there. He worked with me. You know, he did nothing but want me to just have fun and do my best, you know. And, you know, as a young driver, you know, as, say, my first big stage platform I was put on, I just say I wasn't, you know, mature enough for it yet. You know, I just wasn't ready for all that, what was going to go on. You know, I thought in my mind, you know, okay, it's a Chili Bowl. You know, I'm excited to be in it. I'm driving for Keith Coons, but you know, when you get there, it's a whole different. You know, you get off that plane and you go to the place, and it's just nuts.
So you tried to like approach it as like it's a race. It is the Chili Bowl. You're not taking any accreditation away from that. But did you feel like whenever you got there, just the social buzz and the attention from different media folks and then just the fans that saw the social buzz and everything kind of got to you? You had a lot of people mad at you. Let's just face it. Like,
I mean, the whole place wanted to kill me pretty much.
So after that, like, you as a young driver, you're still a young kid. You're not. You're not a veteran by any means. You're still learning. So for you, how did you release from that and escape from that after it was all said and done, after the people tried to jump in the car with you off of the ramp and I fell on a guy and broke his elbow or whatever, and like those guys still had your back. KKM, Kaz was going to town, mate. He didn't care. You know,
you got that
like
right.
he was all about it. But for you as a young kid, I want people to realize this. Like, I want them to put two and two together here. Yes, you were on a big stage. Yes, you had that opportunity. Yes, you got there. But at the same time, that was your first time in a midget.
I know.
And that's what people are losing track of. So how did you release from all that and not just carry that weight on you for so long?
You know, I would say after that Chili Bowl run, that was probably one of the hardest times for me racing. It's just because, you know, even when I go back home now, people are looking at me like that. You know, I'm that guy. So
did you feel like you failed your people?
Yeah, you know, I don't say my dad, like, I didn't fail him, but I kind of, in my opinion, I kind of like shot my shot and I completely missed. You know what I'm saying? And I would say I was like down in the dumps. You know, my biggest fear was I was going to come back to last year and not be any good, you know, because I'll be so far in my head. And luckily, you know, my dad would just push me to be my best. You know, it happened. I can't change the past. And he said, you know, all you can do is look forward. So we went into that next year, and, you know, we kind of did the same thing we did that year when we won the KKM. You know, we clicked off 12 wins, and you know, after I got that first one, you know, I kind of felt my confidence build back up, because I think that's key. If you don't got no confidence, then it's gonna hurt you, you know, because you're not gonna feel confident even racing, throwing a slider, battling someone. And that's kind of where I was going into the beginning of the 2022 season. But you know, I had my dad push me to be my best, and I kind of gained it back after we clicked off 1 or 2 wins, and I was happy for just the way things went that year.
So since the Chili Bowl and midget, you've been able to get back into a midget thanks to the guys at Mountain Stout Motorsports. And you had some time on track before you went and raced. Like, you got to actually turn some laps and in a practice situation. And I feel like watching you from Chili Bowl to being able to see you at that practice, it was almost like a night and day. Like, did you feel more, I don't want to say comfortable, because I'm sure that they made you feel comfortable.
At Keith's, yeah.
But did you feel like you had more ability, time to kind of fill things out?
Yes. You know, I kind of talked to Chase at the KKM Give Back when we finished fourth last year. You know, and he said, you know, I'm thinking about putting a car together, you know, and I'm, you know, got my eye on you. So we worked things out after we won the Millbridge 10,000. And, you know, and he offered me to come out there and work on the complete thing, you know. So it was a frame at the beginning of Thanksgiving, and by the end of that weekend of Thanksgiving, we had a complete race-ready car. So I was out there, you know, helping him get it ready, which is neat, you know, because I like
being able to be hands-on with it.
Yes, I love being hands-on on things. I think it makes you a better driver. You know what you need on the track if you know what your car has. So I did that, and then, you know, he offered me to let's go test, you know, and I said, sweet, you know, and we went to Port. I love Port. It's an awesome track. It's a bull ring. It's, you know, there's top and bottom. So when I was there for the practice session, I was able to maneuver and try things that at the Chili Bowl you only had your one practice session, and that was it. And like what you said, you know, I kind of felt like, okay, I know what I'm working with now. Now let me, like, try to push it to where I think I can try to. And, you know, with, you know, Chase and Jay Mounts and Jared, you know, they were able to push me to be my best.
So we fast forward now to 2023. You kick off a pretty top-notch win, a 7,500 win there at Sweet Springs. We go through the season. Things are kind of clicking for you. We roll into the KKM Challenge there, and you blow a motor in practice.
Yeah, that was just a weird weekend. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, our plan was we just got that motor back. You know, we never really had motor failures with this guy. I nothing but love the guy, you know, and you know, the second session it blew up. I was shocked, and luckily, Jim Radney, the 95, you know, he's another guy that pushes me to be my best. He's kind of like the crew chief for me right now in the hyper racing stable. He offered me to run that car, and you know, me and him have something clicking in that car. So I'm hoping to carry it into this weekend, run the 21S. But that weekend was just crazy.
I mean, you went out, you had a solid performance, and then what happened in the feature? We had a tire go down?
Yes, yeah, we had a tire go down. I never took consideration how good the bottom was in 3 and 4. Like, when we would start, I could feel the drive down there, but I just felt like I was carrying so much momentum around the top, and I felt comfortable up there. You know, I didn't feel like I was losing anything, but I kind of slid myself, and that's how Jet got around me. And I'm like, okay, give me one lap, and hopefully I can build the momentum up to get her back around him. And then I slid myself again and wanted to, and that made me tight. And that's how Gavin and Cale Drake get around me. And then we just all ran out of real estate, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I don't think they were expecting me to come around the top because of the momentum I had. But, you know, he hit me perfect, and it pinched the tire, and it destroyed the rim. And it
is what it is. Yeah, it's one of those racing deals.
You just can't change it, you know? But, I mean, I would say our car was dominant. You know, I'm hoping to carry that momentum into this weekend.
So we talk about that, the motor blowing, and then I see the car rolling into another trailer whenever we're going to leave, right?
Yeah.
So then we get here, and I'm like, I see, like, you're in the pre-entry deal. I think it said you're in the 95. So, like, I'm updating my notes and everything else, and I just so happen to be scrolling through Facebook, and I see this beautiful white, black, and gold car, and I'm like, holy smokes, that's a nice car. And I go back, I scroll back up, and I'm like, holy smokes, that's Steven Snyder's car. Like, so tell me, like, how that came about, and you built a new car in, what, a week? Dude.
You know, Hyper Racing, they're nuts. I love the guys. Everybody there, you know, they put 110% effort in everything they do. You know, and Mike called Jim and was like, hey, I think that car's sold. So if you want to pull the motor out, you know, go for it. So, you know, we pulled the motor out on the feature night, and, you know, I waved it goodbye. And then, you know, Mike said he wants to try to get a car ready with the new Hyper body style. And I said, okay, you know, if you need my help, I'm here. And, you know, they said they think they got it. And we had to go to Indiana to put a new AC unit in. And while we were there, we picked up the new body for it. And we were stuck in Indiana until Thursday, so they didn't get the body till Friday morning, and they pushed it to get ready so we could leave Monday morning.
That's
and,
crazy.
I'm just lucky to have them in my corner. Mike, he does nothing but make me feel like home. He does everything for me that I wouldn't be able, like me and my dad wouldn't be able to come out to all these big races. So without him, I'm grateful.
It seems like Hyper is like in the Midwest here. We have Driven, we have Sawyers, we have Factor Ones, we have 10Js, and those have been pretty the dominant chassis for the past few years. And then Hyper rolls in, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's pissed me off because the KKM Give Back is at my home track, is at Port City, and my home guys just can't. Like Hyper's been smoking them, and you guys just roll in. And the thing about it is, it's not you're in a Hyper. You're over here in your trailer. It's like you're in a Hyper, you're with us. Like whatever you guys need, and it's tenfold. I mean, from Johnny Bolin and those crews and those guys all working together. It seems like people kind of bounce ideas off of things. And Mike, I feel like he's built. It's not a brand; it's a family.
Yes, yeah.
Like you're part of part of the family whenever you go into Hyper, and they do nothing, like nothing even 100%.
Yeah.
Everything they do is nice, top-notch, good quality work. Everything is just, I mean, you watch the videos, you look at interviews inside the shop, and it's
crazy.
Nuts. Like I'm like, dude, my camera and myself need to go to Hyper because like I want to make sure that I want to go in there and be like, oh no, it is dusty, or no, it doesn't. It's just so nice. So it's pretty cool to see that involvement. And for you to get the opportunity, I feel like that's what's really pushed you to the extreme is getting somebody behind you because you are a talented driver. So let's talk about TMS now this weekend. You've had an opportunity to hot lap the new car in practice. You've had the opportunity to sit back with your feet up and watch a qualifying night. Tonight you just unloaded. What's the mindset going into tonight, and what do you think about the racetrack? We talked about it on the way over here, and it was complete 180 from practice to last night. Do you feel like it's going to be more like practice tonight, or do you think they might be able to find a happy medium? Because those guys are working their tails off out there right now.
Yeah, I gave them props. Even last year, the first two nights was totally different than the final night. In the final night, I asked them, and they said, they felt 100% confident. They got it figured out. So, I love this track, and what I saw last night was, I like a cowboy up track. It makes it tough, and I think like when you got that, it breaks the talent out. It shows who can deal with all that, roughness and slickness. So I'm kind of hoping it's kind of like last night, but I also want it to be slick, to where it's tough up around the curb. So I hope it's in the happy medium where it's in the middle of both of them. But I'm happy with whatever. It was definitely neat watching last night. It was nothing I've ever seen before. Like I was just sitting watching qualifying, and every car would do something different because the track was just so weird in different spots. And I think if it's like that tonight, it'll really make for good racing.
For you, single car qualifying, do you want to go out early? Are you looking at the middle of the pack? Like, when do you want to go out?
It depends on the track. Sweet Springs is a good example. We picked a bad number both nights, and we were near the end, and we went still really good, second quick both nights, which was, pretty surprising because normally you want to be out in the, not the beginning, but, in the beginning and middle area because you can see what them guys do, and hopefully it's not still, loose. I forget what word I was saying.
It has some compound to it. It has like some richness.
Yeah, so, I was trying to, the slickness and the grease, trying to knock the grease off so you're not in that. And I tried to, but I try to hope to go in the middle and beginning-ish, but, at the end with these pills I've been drawing, it's not been looking lovely.
Not been looking lovely.
It is what it is, though.
So let's shoot some rapid-fire questions here so folks at home can get to know Steven Snyder Jr. a little bit better. Steven Snyder Jr. rolls in for breakfast. What is he ordering?
I love pancakes. I love sunny-side-up eggs with toast. That's a good, good starter for the day.
Are you whenever you're going on a road trip, you're loading up to leave Hyper to come down here to Texas or wherever to race. You stop at the first gas station to get your snack and your drink. What are you going after?
We stopped at this Rudders. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That's a gas station up by us. On this trip, I got a pumpkin pie, like milk.
Okay.
And it was amazing. But normally it's a sweet tea with like an Uncrustable.
Okay.
Me and Jim love them Uncrustables. They're pretty good.
An Uncrustable type of guy.
Yep.
Are you like an early bird or a late night guy? Would you rather wake up and get it done early, or would you rather sleep in and stay up late?
It all depends on what I got to do. With like these, we stay up late, so I like to sleep in. But if I say I'm doing yard work, I want to get that out of the way. Even though I love it, I want to get it done and out of the way so I can relax for the rest of the day.
What's Steven Snyder Jr.'s average day like? Like, what do you do during the day? Are you a bum on the video games? Are you mowing the lawns and doing the tidy work for the household chores?
Usually it's the household chores with like lawn mowing. I do that stuff. I usually go to my grandparents, do their grass if I need to. I kind of relax. I try to work on the car as much as I can. Usually I'm out there pretty much every day of the week getting that thing ready because at home we race Wednesday, Friday, Saturday pretty much. So with that or I'll go up to Hyper, work on the car. So it's usually I try not to just sit around.
You got any siblings?
Yeah, I got one brother that's I think 13, and then I got an older sister that goes to University of Tampa.
Okay.
And then I have a younger sister that does horseback riding.
So a wide variety of sports there from the Snyder family.
And my brother plays baseball, so yep.
So did you play any other sports?
Yeah, I played baseball and I wrestled a little bit.
And you're like, racing's way better than that.
I loved baseball. I was a catcher. I loved it. And then we do this thing called All Stars, and that's when I had to pick one or the other because I did the All Stars one year and I was ready to give up on both sports because
that's a lot of work.
It gets in my head and. My parents said, I think you should focus on one of them, and I liked racing. It just gives me an adrenaline push that I've never felt, so I went with that.
So how old are you?
18.
18 years old. Have you graduated high school?
Yeah, I graduated last spring.
Okay, so you're going to the University of Hyper now?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I go up there and help out as much
going
as I
and
can.
doing as much as you can there.
So.
So ultimate end goal is micro racing your calling? Do you want to try and do any more midget racing, or what do you want to do with the racing career?
I love sprint cars. I had an opportunity to get my feet wet in them in the beginning of the year. They're definitely something I would love to keep trying to push. That's my ultimate goal is to run 410 winged sprint cars because it's so heavy up in PA. But the midget stuff is awesome. That's also something you've never drove before. They're just so crazy.
Yep.
But I love running these micros just because of the opportunities I get with them. So, but it's also I'm open to anything. I'm willing to try to see what is at the end of it.
So let's just to close this out. Those people that had, I don't even know what word I want to use here. Those ill wishes or those negative thoughts about Steven Snyder Jr. If you could say one thing to just break that mold of you're not just some average kid out here running people over. That's never been your intent. I feel like you're a hard worker. You're dedicated to the sport and molding your craft. But for you, what would you say to people to kind of describe Steven Snyder Jr. and his racing overall?
I'm just not that normal kid that pays money. I work on the stuff. It's like me on my stuff back home. My dad works, so he can't work on it. So it's me. I try to make every decision call on the car before I go out on the track. I try to be that kid that knows what they're talking about. And I respect that to another driver in the pits. If say Shelby Hinton, he works on his own stuff. I give that kid 110 props on. He just won last night.
Yeah.
He's another good example. I like them kids that don't pay money. I try not to be one of them, and I try to make the fans happy that we put a good show on.
Just put a good show on. A hard-working, self-made kid with a lot of great people behind him. It's Steven Snyder Jr. right here on Haas Talks.
Performance Electronics, custom electronic solutions. From design to manufacturing, let us put your ideas in motion and become your company's full-service electronics manufacturing experts. Performance Electronics.